Here's the argument some people will push back on. This isn't really a dog rescue video. It's a video about proof. Specifically, whether one suffering animal can still shock an audience that sees distressing images every day. The video's central claim is simple. Abby was starving, Abby was rescued, Abby recovered. But underneath that is a stronger claim. Compassion still matters because intervention still changes outcomes. And unlike a lot of emotional internet storytelling, this video brings receipts. Look at the evidence the video chooses first. Not medical charts, not dramatic language. A dog searching through street trash for food. Then the footage of an animal so thin that individual bones dominate the frame. That's important because the strongest part of the video's reasoning is observational. The audience is not being asked to imagine neglect. They're being shown physical reality. Notice how little explanation is actually required once those images appear. When Jen says this may be a dog who doesn't have much longer, the statement lands because the footage has already done the work. Too many recovery stories ask viewers to trust the narrator. This one lets visible conditions support the conclusion. Now here's the interesting assumption. The video frames Abby's recovery as the natural result of someone deciding not to look away. That's a beautiful idea, and it's largely supported by what we see. But the real achievement isn't kindness alone. It's sustained care. Food offered once doesn't solve starvation. Rescue, transport, shelter, monitoring, and recovery do. The video quietly celebrates persistence as much as compassion. This is where the evidence gets even better. Abby allows herself to be picked up. That moment matters because it shifts the story from observation to relationship. The video isn't arguing that suffering existed. It already proved that. It's arguing that trust can return after suffering. That's a much harder claim, and seeing the dog accept help becomes part of the evidence. The omission is fascinating, and it actually increases my appreciation for the piece. We don't get a long forensic explanation of how Abby reached this condition. The video refuses to turn speculation into certainty. Instead, it focuses on the verifiable part of the story, the condition she was found in and the measurable improvement afterward. That's a surprisingly disciplined choice for a 2-minute emotional documentary. Recovery footage often functions like a reward for the audience. Here it functions as an argument. Every healthier frame of Abby is effectively a rebuttal to hopelessness. The video's reasoning is straightforward. If this transformation occurred, then intervention mattered. If intervention mattered, then paying attention mattered. That's not sentimentality. That's cause and effect made visible. The appeal to support mission possible works because it arrives after the demonstration. That's a crucial distinction. The video doesn't begin by asking for trust. It begins by presenting a case study. Viewers first see a precious animal in crisis, then witness improvement, and only afterward encounter the broader charitable mission. The sequence strengthens credibility. At just over 2 minutes, the video could have felt compressed. Instead, the brevity helps the substance. Every selected moment advances the central question. Was this life worth saving? By the end, the answer is embedded in the footage itself. Abby's existence becomes the argument. Her condition at the beginning and her condition later are the comparison. What I admire most is that the video never treats Abby as irreplaceable content. She is presented as a living being whose recovery carries moral weight. That sounds obvious until you realize how often internet stories reduce suffering to spectacle. This piece keeps returning to dignity. Even the most difficult images are there to establish reality, not to sensationalize it. So does the video prove its central claim? Impressively, yes. Not because one rescue solves larger problems, and not because the narration insists upon a conclusion. It succeeds because the strongest evidence is visible transformation. The beginning and ending of Abby's journey are so dramatically different that the video's broader message becomes difficult to dismiss. Compassion isn't presented as a slogan here. It's presented as a documented outcome. And that's exactly the kind of story worth challenging in future reviews. Not because it's weak, but because the strongest feel-good videos are the ones that can survive scrutiny. If the next upload makes a big emotional promise, we'll test whether the evidence is as powerful as it feels.